is going on, gorgeous human beings on Facebook? David Lyon here. So last week I posted this question: how do you know that you're on the right path in your life? And so this video I want to share some of my thoughts, because I really appreciate the conversations that emerged, the different perspectives that came up. And so one of the biggest things, or one of the most frequent responses to this question was by how it feels. I have a fuck yes in my body. I feel great. I feel amazing, whatever it is. And yeah, I think I want to start with why I think that's potentially misleading to measure whether you're on the right path or not by just whether you feel good or not. And with that, I want to say that I think it's super important to ask yourself this question: how do I know that I'm on the right track? Because it might be that internally you have a kind of metric that tells you that you're not on the right path, but you actually might be. And so I want to give you this example that many people said, like, oh, I know I'm on the right path by how it feels. So in general, like on a zoomed out perspective, I would agree that if I'm on the right path, I will feel, let's say, more alive. I wouldn't even say more joyful. I would say alive into all directions, not just joy. However, for me, being on the right path also means that stuff will come up from inside of me that might feel really challenging and overwhelming, and it might numb me out, and I might feel disoriented. And so if my metric is, well, I know I'm on the right path if I feel good, or if there are many synchronicities in my life, then it might be easy in this moment to go, oh, I did something wrong. I'm not on the right path because something came up that doesn't feel easy, and that doesn't feel aligned, and that doesn't feel in the flow. And so my own metric of am I on the right path is like, yes, on a zoomed out perspective. Like if I look at my last year compared to now, do I feel more alive? Do I feel more compassionate towards myself and other people? So on that level, yes. But on a more zoomed in perspective, I would say, no, I can absolutely be on my path and feel really challenged, and maybe even feel overwhelmed and disconnected, and so on and so forth. And for me then, the task in these moments is, how can I relate to what is coming up, right? So not, oh, this doesn't feel aligned, this doesn't feel in the flow, this doesn't feel easy, so I did something wrong and that's why it's here. But more like, okay, something is coming up which wants to be integrated, and once it is integrated, what that will lead to is more aliveness, more choice in my life, more understanding for myself and other people. So the challenge then is, can I relate to whatever is coming up with compassion, with curiosity, with a sense of, okay, I don't know right now how this discomfort, how this really challenging emotion, how this numbness fits into my understanding of life. Right now it feels like an obstacle, but can I stay open to see, well, what does it want to teach me? Okay? And so that's for me crucial, that my understanding of am I on the right path or not includes, you could say, everything that is part of the hero's journey, or everything that is part of an initiation. And so you will always reach moments of not knowing how the fuck life works. You will reach moments where you will feel like everything I've thought to understand until now, I don't any longer. And so if your metric internally goes, oh, that means I did something wrong, then it's very easy to get stuck there and not move through. Because in my understanding, any kind of real transformation brings you to the point of, fuck, I don't know how anything works any longer, right? Like if a system, any kind of system, right? And also we as human beings are one system. If it wants to reach a new level of transformation, of understanding, of insight, then it will have to go through moments of death, of not knowing how anything works any longer. And so when I work with people and also in my own journey, in my own life, creating an understanding where I'm like, yes, okay, I'm reaching this point again of like something is dying, so it's gonna come with all the challenges, to be reborn in a grander version of myself, in a more expanded, in a more compassionate version of myself. So that is so much part of the path, and I so want to create places where we understand that there's nothing wrong about entering this process again and again. Yeah, maybe I'll end just with what are my metrics besides this, what I just shared, that I know that I'm on the right path in my own life, which I can say for the past maybe 4 to 5 years, I feel like, whoa, I've really landed on my path. And one is, as I shared, if I zoom out a bit, I do feel increasingly more alive and connected to myself. I do feel like my understanding of life is becoming more inclusive and more complex. So my ability to hold paradoxes, to hold opposing views, to hold perspectives that include marginalized voices, this is growing inside of me. I feel like I'm arriving more deeply in my body. So this is one element, which is more, let's say, on the awareness side. But then what's also really important for me is the side of like power. Am I actually making better choices? Do I feel more freedom of choice? So am I operating less out of inhabit patterns or trauma responses, but more out of a place of clarity and connection within myself? And then lastly, connected to my choices, connected to my own power, am I spending my life energy in a way that serves life? So do I look at my days, my weeks, my months, and feel like this feels meaningful? Like what I do is actually nourishing life. And in some moments that might be deep self-care and slowing down incredibly to integrate some parts that are coming up. And in other moments that might be stepping out into the world and sharing my message and supporting other people in their unfolding, right? So this is not about either constantly focusing on myself or constantly focusing on other people, like, oh, service means you always have to be there for other people and you sacrifice yourself. I don't think that's actually useful. The larger question for me is, am I serving life in the way that I'm using my life energy? So yeah, those are some of the things that I kind of look at to see, am I on my path or not? And lastly, I just want to share, I think, of course, you can also look at the question, be like, can you ever be off path? And I can see both answers, like absolutely you can be off path, you can do something that does not feel aligned at all. I can see that being true, but I can also see saying like, well, you have the possibility to turn any experience into being part of your path, depending on how you respond to it. And so what comes with that is a sense of, psychologically, this would be called internal locus of control. So instead of saying something in my life should not have happened, to be like, well, what is in my power right now? How I respond to it. And so personally, I can say every big fuck up in my life has led to places within myself and to deeper clarity and compassion that I would not have reached without screwing up incredibly. So are the things that seem off path, are they part of your path? Well, they certainly can be if in these moments you're like, okay, this is uncomfortable, I really don't like where I am, but right now I choose to relate to it in a way that can serve my own growth and life at large. So if I screw something up, I stay accountable and I stay present and I stay humble and open in the process to see how I can make the best out of the situation. All right, so these are my thoughts on the question, how do I know that I'm on my path? Yeah, I'm going to tag all the guys who and women who responded to my question below, just to see what your perspective is, and let me know in the comments, like, is there something you feel like I'm really missing out? Is there something you completely disagree with what I said? Like, I want to keep the conversation going. And yeah, thank you for engaging in this exploration. I think it's super, super juicy and valuable to ask ourselves and each other this question. All right? So sending you much love. And as always, with any work, any interaction with me, I always end my videos with you're seen, you're loved, you're appreciated. Keep evolving, and I'll talk to you very soon. Peace.